Aries for August of 2022, and we'll get right into it. Aries, you're going to be messed up emotionally, mentally, and spiritually more than any other sign by far. Or you can deny that, or you could deny this, however you want to put it. You could say that you're not disturbed, or you refuse to acknowledge your disturbance, or even maybe see it at all. So Aries, you are able to deny your problem as a skill and strength. Some Aries will focus on their ability to deny whatever they don't want to be true about themselves, and then so Aries, you can use your denial or being in denial to you as a skill. To other people, Aries, that are not you, not the first sign of the zodiac, and not the only singularity, those people can't fathom not being a plurality, because Aries, you're the first sign of the zodiac and the only one that is a singularity, and they will never tell you this because either they did not want you to know or they don't know. Aries, you're the only singularity that's actually a real singularity, and sorry to say, Aries, for everyone else, what makes you feel so great about yourself, or what the qualities which you'll try to fathom that you have that are so rare and unique to only you, well, your feeling will certainly want to emulate that kind of truth, but you'll be frustrated to say that I don't know what's so special about me. I'm like everyone else, right? No, Aries. See, that's the disturbance in what disturbs me, is that the astrologers don't know astrology. Certainly they do not. They'll have to learn from me, Aries, and understand that's not making me feel great, that how much we're missing and how much you suffer the worst of it. The worst of the signs is Aries. The worst suffering sign is Aries. And the most absolutely stubbornly displaced, dispossessed, dispossession, and refusal to possess anything, even itself, will be Aries. And it will never know or understand anything, but it will always feel it in everything, and then maybe be nothing instead and deny its own feelings. Aries, you are so potentially screwed up, and in the worst potential ways, because of your disposition. You're the only one that actually is a one. The rest of them can be one because they're more than one, but they're all at least two, starting with two, and you're one and the only one. Aries, what makes you unique is that you are the first sign of zodiac, the only one that's a one. Do you know that Aries, the two is not a one, and the three is not a one, and the four is not a one? The one is you, and the two is made of two of you. So what makes a two is two of you, Aries, and you'll feel important for that. You'll say, did you know that Taurus is just me twice? And everyone will say, Aries, don't think you can take your importance like that. You think you're so great? Well, I'm trying. I don't feel great. That's why I'm trying it. Yeah, but we don't want you to think like you can go around being great, Aries. Thinking you're so great. What? Because two is two ones and I'm the one twice? Yeah, but Aries, two can be you twice, and it is itself, which is more than you as well. So Aries, you'll try to take all the credit for everything. Either that or you'll try to take no credit for anything, and you'll deny yourself credit. So you'll either be busy saying, nah, I don't need no credit. Nah, don't give me any, little old me, any credit. I'm going to deny my ego so you won't do it. And Aries, you'll either spend your whole life denying yourself in front of everyone else so they can decide not to do it. Then, if you're doing it good enough, then no one else will have to deny you, Aries, for failing to deny yourself. Aries, you better put on a good show of how much you could deny your ego, because it's you. You own it, and it's you. Aries, you know what the ego is? It's you. Okay, wait a minute, man. But do astrologers know this? No. Either that or they won't tell you. Aries, you are the ego spirit, and it's you. Okay, well, wait a minute. Is Taurus the ego spirit? Well, if Taurus is Aries and has the ego spirit, then Taurus is Taurus who has Aries, because Taurus is more than one. And so Taurus is two. Aries and Taurus is two. So Aries has Aries and doesn't have Taurus, because Aries is the first one and only Aries. Are you trying to tell me that I'm special? Uniquely great? Well, I'm trying to tell you, you need to find a way to see it that way. Well, yeah, not because you're making it up, but because you already feel what you don't know, and you already don't know. You're feeling it as known, as a known, unknown still. So Aries, what you'll do is you'll try to find the reason you're feeling is as felt. Like, why am I feeling? I have a need to feel, to validate my feelings. What are they? Well, I mean, what? That I want to be great. I want to be great somehow and love myself and think I'm awesome. Well, Aries, you don't need to think you're awesome. Why not? I think I suck and I want to be awesome. Oh, but Aries, we love you when you're frustrated and weak, and to us, when you're frustrated and weak, we think it's awesome and you're awesome. I know, and that's why I don't even like myself or even you when you come to me think I'm awesome because I'm weak and hating it. See, Aries, the thing is, Aries, you're not going to be spending your time to be mad at the world because you already are for an eternity and have been forever. Aries, your anger and madness goes to a level of unsurpassed madness and insanity that never stops since the beginning of time and since you lost your immortality because you used to be a god. Yeah, is that unbelievable, Aries? The entity that's you, the ego, is a cast out ancient remnant. What is the ego, Aries? It's a spirit that is the same in all places that it is and behaves the same everywhere that it does. Ego is ego everywhere it is, and all men who have it, even women. Well, what is ego? It's what's left of a dead god that is dead to the world and not dead to itself. Aries, you are nothing more than a tortured soul that has been punished by having your immortality taken from you. And then now you're immortal, a mere mortal that has to die over and over and be erased over and over and learn over and over. And you have to go to school for 18 years, Aries. And then you have to go to learn your whole life and learn everything you learn, Aries. And then you get to die and then you're erased. And you get to come back and learn it all again. And then get erased again, learn it again, and then die and then be born and then die and then be born again and then be erased again to learn it again to eventually, Aries, refuse to want to learn anything anymore. And you'll be the first one, Aries, which will eventually refuse to accept the karmic wheel of life and death. Because Aries, most people will eventually become okay with what they have to become used to about whatever it is they can't control. And you're different because Aries, why everyone else is being forced to slowly submit, you are the opposite. You're being forced to realize that you're never going to submit, but you're in a state of submission forever. And you can't be okay with that. You could be okay with that if it's not in a state of submission forever. And so since it is, that won't be okay with you. And your God is not okay with that. So wait a minute. Well, wait a minute. If your God is okay with that, then that'll be you when you're being a servant to your God. And that's what that is. A servant. Nothing more greater than a loyal servant. That's what you are, Aries. What's so great about that? Well, I don't know. It could be pretty great if God loves you and blesses you for it. Maybe he'll say, well, you're the best servant I got, and you're just all that great. And you'll say, yeah, but I'd rather be a God like you than your loyal servant. And then the God would say, yeah, you're pretty honest, Aries, about how you feel. I like that. I like that about you, Aries. There's very few Aries that are actually honest enough to be honest enough to actually say how they feel and have the courage even to face their own God and say, like, something's wrong, Lord. Well, what is it, Aries? I don't want to be your servant. In fact, being your servant, how about you be my servant, God? Aries, that's pretty bold of you to say something like that. You want me to be your servant, Aries? And you want to be my God? I think that would be more fair, or at least as fair. How about, God, if you be my servant and I'll be your God? Well, I mean, ultimately, if you could do that, Aries, then you're in line with being in your truth. What does it mean, Aries, to be in line with being in your truth? It means having the courage to not, in spite or disrespectfully, acknowledge your feelings as they are felt, but at least with lots of respect and no spite, and respectfully be willing to feel them as they are, with respect and in respect towards whatever you're about to do next. Well, feel them the way that they should be felt, honestly. And what will you feel? And what will you think when you do it? Well, I'll tell you, you've never done it, Aries. Aries, you are so dishonest with how you feel that you couldn't possibly have ever known it or know it now. Aries, you're so unable to know how you feel or who you are or why you feel or why you are, because Aries, you don't know who you are. All you know is who you're not. And who you are not, Aries, is you are who is not knowing anything about who you are. Aries, what you are, you might not like at all if you knew what it was. But I'll tell you, that's only if you're, maybe, I'll tell you what, I know what you are, and I know what I am, and I like it. But Aries, I'm not going to tell you you're the devil or he's your daddy, and I'm not going to tell you that Satan is your daddy or your uncle. I'm not going to say things like that. Like you come from the spawn of power and authority on the level of baseness. That in fact, that your uncle is the most powerful singularity in the universe, or your dad is Darth Vader himself. Because Aries, if I told you that, your dad is Darth Vader himself and the most powerful singularity in the universe, and in fact, the most powerful in the universe, what would you do? Would you say, like, oh my God, don't tell me I'm from the dark side? I'd say, yeah, but don't you love it? Your dad does. And he could be good with it too if he wants to be, depending on who he wants to be good to. But he's usually not thinking everyone else is so good, so he likes to be bad. Because he says they're bad, not himself. Wait, you mean my dad claims to be good? Well, that's the crazy thing, Aries. Aries, you are so busy being ashamed of what you feel that you don't understand anything about. And what you feel that you don't understand anything about is that your dad is not that nice, not that great, not that good at all. In fact, he could be, but your dad prefers to do this. I am whatever I am, and I don't need to do anything more than tell you who I am. Who are you, Mr. Darth Vader? Well, don't you know already? Yeah, but okay, fine. I'm scared of you. Well, you better be. Or if you're not, you should be. Well, damn, you must be some god, Mr. Darth Vader. Well, I didn't say that. You did. I said I am a power of the dark side, and I could be good with it. I'm not asking myself questions. I'm not losing a battle in my mind or losing a psychology to my wit. I'm not Darth Vader in depression or wanting to commit suicide. Do you think Darth Vader commits suicide? Do you think he hates himself or wants to die or cries about things? No, he doesn't. Do you think that Darth Vader ever feels sad or sadness for anything? He doesn't. You know why? Because all things that are not empowered entirely are weak. And a weakness is a lack of, well, it's ultimately a lack of willful intent. And a willful intent described as empowered by what it is, a willful intent is a kind of godlike quality and power. So understand, Aries, you have a godlike quality and power. And I'm not playing around with you, and I'm not joking, and this is no joke. Your daddy is Aries. You are not somebody who is good. You are only somebody who's great and can be good. And you are certainly skilled in being not good. In fact, your forte is to be bad as all hell. And Aries, you're going to rule hell and love it. And you could also serve in hell and love it because you'll be ruling whenever you want. But understand, if you go to heaven, you'll only be able to serve there. And you won't be able to rule in heaven whatsoever, because when you get to heaven, they'll say, Aries, your dad is already ruling in hell. So what are you doing here in heaven? We're not going to let you rule. We're not going to let you come here ever, Aries, in heaven and have any rule. If you come here in heaven, Aries, you're going to be our servant only. You'll be stuck with you. You can't be leading anything here, Aries. And you'll say, then why would I want to go to heaven? I think heaven sucks. And I'll tell you, Aries, now you're understanding something. You're the only one that would understand it in this way. Aries, this to you is magical, and it's greatness. It's your life force itself. It is your power itself. Itself is selfishness, and it's you. Aries, you are the base spirit that exists at the bottom level in the basement. And you are the first one to get into a body, and you're the first spirit to arrive. And there ain't nobody else coming. When you arrive, Aries, you're on scene. You're by yourself. You're a solo. And when you enter the room, Aries, there's never anyone else there but you. And you're the only one there. When you first get there, there are nobody else. Aries, you came here first, and your entity existed first by itself, alone. And when it arrived, there was nobody else. You were the first one to arrive here, and your spirit was the first one to get here, and there was nobody else. And you existed here, Aries, for a time by yourself and totally alone. Without anybody else, no company from anyone else. And you know what that did to you, Aries? Everything great. Because when you came here, it wasn't so lonely to be the only one when there was no two yet. Aries, when you were the only one here, there was no two. You certainly didn't miss it because you never even knew it. In fact, you never existed, Aries. When you arrived, there was only one. It was you, and you were it. And you said, "Why am I so lonely? I don't even know what the word should mean. I love being alone. I love being by myself." Well, Aries, you do love being by yourself, and you'll be the first one to go off by yourself and do whatever you want. And you'll be the leader and the one who's not afraid to go off alone and do what you want. And you'll be your solo greatness. And Aries, that's why you'll go off and to the mountains, and you'll be the bravest one, and you'll also take the most chances. So also are under and subject to sometimes the most dangers. Aries, you're the only one with the courage and the power to be so courageous and powerful. And you don't realize that I'm not trying to be inaccurate here in any way, shape, or iota and inform. What I'm saying is, Aries, if there's only one in the universe, what is two made of? Two ones. And they're both ones as well. And so 1, 2, Aries, is borrowing its quality to be a 2 one time by you. And the quality of being itself once is only your quality. It's no other quality. And no number that can be itself once, and that includes every number in the universe, Aries, can be itself once. A 12 can be itself once. A 10 is itself once, Aries. How do you think a 10 can be itself once, Aries? Because of you. Aries, if it's possible that a 10 could be itself one time, then it's borrowing your quality of singularity coming right from you at the first house in the first position, and it can't be got anywhere else. It can't be had anywhere else. It's taken from anywhere else because Aries, the quality that you are is more than just unique. It's more than just unique, Aries, by far. See, the thing, Aries, is they didn't tell you this because either they didn't know, but I promise you they did. They did know. They didn't want to tell you this back in Roman times. That's why this information was lost to you, because even today, they don't know it now or they won't share it. They're not going to do it. Aries, they're not going to tell you the truth because of the fact that it is true. What is the truth? Well, Aries, you're the only one that has Darth Vader for a dad. Sorry to tell you that. Yeah, your dad is not. It is not Obi-Wan Kenobi, and so yeah, you could feel bad about it, or you could just feel bad about it for no reason, or shame yourself for why do I hate myself? Well, I don't know. You don't know either. But if I did know, I tell you, the reason why you're ashamed of yourself is you don't even know why you're ashamed of yourself, and the reason why you are is because there's a part of you that feels who you are, and is not aware of who it is or what it is. And I would tell you that, Aries, if I told you that your dad was the devil, what would you do? What would you do if I said that Satan is your father, and he's not the father of all lies? He's the father of all truths that also can lie if they feel like it, because he won't care. Wait a minute. I'm not saying Satan is your daddy. I'm saying if he was or is, do you think he's anyone else's daddy, Aries? Well, that's what I'm saying. Think about this, Aries. Do you think the astrologers want to tell you that the singularity coming from the masculinity that doesn't share any qualities with her or plurality is anything other than good? Understand that angels are good, Aries, because they are a plurality. I want you to know what good is, Aries. It's not you. You are so far removed from goodness. Aries, your nature is not good whatsoever. It's the opposite of it. You know what good is? Good is a plurality of two entities sharing some kind of a union or a marriage. And two entities, if they are two together, can do it, as one marriage can be from two people. But Aries, all entities are at least two, starting with Taurus is two, and the first one that is. And the only one that's not two is you. Aries, is there any other sign in the zodiac which is a one like you? No, there's not. And they're all made of you. And the one that you are is what they're made of. See, Aries, you were the first one, the only one, and they're all made of ones as well. And they could be more than one, but maybe you can't. Maybe you can't be more than one, but they're made of you, and you are you. What's so special about you, Aries? Well, you'll know this on some level. Let's look at this and re-evaluate to understand that, Aries, it's not that you're trying to find a reason to be important or love yourself. It's that you have been ousted, outcasted, rejected, and destroyed, and used to be in the first pantheon, and the god of war was a god that you used to exist as. Aries, the entity which is your spirit, which is you, which is still alive and living, is living in a state of deadness and a state of aliveness and life, and it's a death. in deadness. It's an immortal state of immortality that gets to die every 100 years or less, forever. Be reborn and do it over and over in the process of being erased, to remember, to learn, to relearn, to lose it all again, to gain it back all again through hardship and suffering. And Aries, your soul is very aware of what's been going on, and understand that it doesn't know much more than, I can't believe how futile the entire cosmos feels like to me. What's wrong with you, Aries? I feel like it's just a waste of time. Everything's a waste of time. It's all ridiculous. Aries, when you're stuck on a karmic wheel, being born over again for 2 billion years, and you get to die every 100 years or less, and you died so many times, Aries, in so many painful and bad ways, over and over and over and over, forever. And also you get to be reborn, and you don't know nothing except the frustration that you come out of the womb freezing cold so bad that you're literally in shock and screaming like a baby. And then also aware on some level as a baby that's screaming in shock that, oh my God, I just came back into this world and I'm subjected to die again in it. Think of the realization, Aries, that when you come into this life, all you really are aware of is that now you have to die because of it. So think about coming into this life as coming into this death. And then understand, Aries, this is not to make you feel bad. This is to bring you up. This is not to bring you down, Aries, to make you feel depressed. This is to help you to rise up. Aries, rise up. Rise up in your greatness. But understand this, Aries, if you cannot have the courage to rise up in your greatness, then you will be nothing more than a coward, a boy, a child, a failure to even your ability to say to yourself in the whole world, I have to have greatness. Well, what makes you think you're so great, Aries? I'm the only one and the only singularity in the universe, and you all get it from me. It's my quality. I own it, and none of you do own it. I own it. Oh, great, Aries, you found out? Who told you? God told me. Oh, great. So now what? Well, I guess I have a need to be important, don't I? Well, yeah, but Aries, what will happen is that when you are aware that you have a need to be important, it goes way beyond the need to be important, Aries. You have a need to understand why you're important and what makes you unique and different from everything else. And why would you need to have an importance to be so important? Because you have to have a purpose, Aries. When you are reduced to a mortal state of suffering and your existence is a death that is to be repeated eternally, and eternal damnation is your gift. You have been gifted with eternal damnation. Aries, what shall I do to make you feel worse? Well, don't feel worse, Aries. You already have felt worse. Start feeling better now. Aries, you already have gone through the worst. You've already been eternally damned forever. And now you're an ego eternally rejected. Women don't like you. Understand, Aries, the only chance you have in this world to be accepted by this world is to not be yourself on purpose and prove that you will never do it. Well, just because your dad's Darth Vader, you better not even think you could be Luke Skywalker. But wait a minute, but if I'm Luke Skywalker, I'm a hero and nobody thinks I'm bad, right? Now you're starting to see it. Wait a minute, so if my dad is the devil, what does that make me as his son? Well, I don't know. What is Luke Skywalker as compared to Darth Vader? Does anyone hate Luke Skywalker and say that he's evil because his dad is? Well, that's the whole thing. No, they don't. In fact, they love Luke Skywalker because he's not evil and he comes straight from his dad, the devil. No, the Darth Vader is just the devil or Satan. That is literally what he is. And do you think Luke Skywalker or George Lucas wanted to, or anybody wanted to tell you the truth? Like, as if you're going to have to accept Aries, where did you come from? A personification of evil itself? Or shall we change that to the accuracy it deserves? Not a personification of evil itself, but a singularity that is derived from a masculinity without the feminine and a solo standing alone. The singularity is the most powerful weapon in the universe. Aries is you. The singularity, which you are, the spirit, which is in the position it's in, a solo half, not the other half, as a singularity, is so much more powerful than all the other entities. It's ridiculous. Aries, your power exceeds far over and is greater than every other sign. And starting with 2 all the way up to 12. Aries, your significance for how much more powerful you are than everyone else is absurdly your right to know about, should be that you have a right to know about it. Aries, you are so strong, so much stronger than everything else that you'll deny that and say, no way, don't tell me I'm strong. I don't feel strong. I feel weak. And Aries, your power has been removed from you and you don't even know how to use it. Aries, you're the only singularity that can be a singularity and solo as a half. That's not the other half. Aries, do you know that you're not a fraction as a half? And the only sign and number in the universe that can be half and not the other half and is a whole and all of it. Do you know that mathematically, Aries, when you are your half and not the other half, you are 100% whole and not fractionized, because since you are the first half and the only one that started, when you became a first half, Aries, there was no second half existing, which means that you existed as a half that was not a half but a whole. Well, it's only half and seen as half when the second half arrives, Aries, and the second half only arrives as Taurus, Aries. So the second half is subjected to be a second half and fractionized. And Aries, you were not subjected to be held to a half or a fraction. Aries, you can be a half, which is 100% wholly, fully, and whole, and not half, not fraction. And wait a minute, Aries, what does that mean? I'm saying, Aries, when you could be 100% strong in only 50% there, I'm going to say, how are you doing it? If you only got 50%, how are you 100% in strength? You got to lose at least half your strength if you only got half, right? No, Aries, that applies to number 2 and everything up, which means that, Aries, you're the only one that says, well, my half is all of it, because my half was the half that arrived first, and there was no second half until it came, and I was a half by itself, which was not half, because there was no second half. When I came, I was the only half there was, and it was 100% me. So you're trying to say that, like, literally that everybody deals with having half of themselves removed? Yeah, Aries, the 2 starts with 2 halves. You're always the first half, Aries. Aries, everything in this universe and every sign is a second half, and you're the first half, which means that Taurus is a 2 that has a first one and a second one, and you're the first one, Aries. You know the second one is? It's Taurus. The second one is in the second position, and it's fully not able to exist by itself in the second position as only half and call itself whole, or even pretend it is, and it'll be jealous and mad at you, Aries. Aries, what makes you so bad is that you're so capable without even knowing your capability, and your strength exceeds far and foremost over everybody else, which means that if they let you be who you were and naturally develop as who you are, Aries, you would just be a Darth Vader coming into existence and a badass that didn't even have to try. And you'd have so much strength over everyone else that they'd have to just follow you as your president or teacher or the one in charge or daddy and understand. Do you think that they're going to be okay with that, Aries? Aries, do you think they're going to be okay with saying, okay, fine, you mean Aries is superior to us? Well, yes. Certainly the one is superior and the only one that is one, because every other number in the universe after 1 is made of 1, and 1 is 1, and there ain't no other one except the one that is itself, and everything else is made of 1, and they're not 1. So the 2 is made of 2 ones, but it's also 1, 2 once, and it's also not a 1, so it can't be a 1. So wait a minute, am I trying to say that, Aries, what makes you so great is that you don't even know how great you are, and what makes you so great is that you're willing to be accepting how ungrateful you feel. You're willing not to be great, Aries. You're willing not to be great at all. In fact, you probably don't even like yourself, Aries. Aries, you'll be the first one to hate yourself and be ashamed of yourself, and then maybe hide it or not. Aries, you won't like yourself. You look in the mirror and say, oh my God, I suck. And then you might not want to admit that to you or anyone else. But understand, Aries, if you're actually loving yourself, well, then understand, then you're just being the greatness you are. And so I'm saying most Aries are not going to be a natural Darth Vader coming into existence. How many Darth Vaders come into existence and are just blessed? Well, I understand. How many Darth Vaders are coming into existence blessed? None. Well, wait a minute. How come there's only one evil Darth Vader that's really bad and there's not a bunch of them? And how come Luke Skywalker's not considered to be bad like his father? Because there's only one devil daddy, or one Satan daddy. He's a singularity, he's a masculinity, and he's a half that's a whole, and the only one that's 100% at the 50%. So what does that mean? That means that he can't have her. He can't take her, and if he does take her, he has to lose himself, which means that the weakness of the strength of what makes him strong is he don't accept her, he might reject her, he won't take her, and maybe he'll abuse her or lose her or use her or anything else, because his strength is all going to be strong only without her. And the moment he gets with her, accepts her, or gives her an equal share, well, he can't do it unless he gives her his equal share that's not equal with hers. Which means that Aries, what you'll do is you'll say, okay, great, so we could be equals, you know? And I'll say, no, we can't, Aries. You're superior utterly to all of us, but if you want to be equals with me, Aries, well, then get rid of your half. I'll take my half. You could be my half, Aries, and forget about your half. And you'll say, wait a minute, yeah, I could do it, Aries. You're willing to get rid of your half and just be my half? Well, Aries, you will be willing to do it. Aries, you'll be so quick to just get rid of your own self just so that you could be loved, because what you want to be is loved and accepted so badly, and you'll also deny that. You'll also say it's not true. So Aries, part of you doesn't even want to admit everything that's true, and a lot of you that is hearing this doesn't want to admit any of this because it's saying, don't make me have to see the truth. I don't want to admit to it. Or your feelings get affected by it in a way that it hurts. So Aries, as I tell you these truths, it's very shocking and it can hurt you, and your feelings will get hurt, Aries, because you are sensitive enough to be called awesome. Yeah, you have feelings, and maybe yours are more sensitive than all the others, and that's why you'll have an insensitivity greater and stronger and more singular than all the others. See, Aries, what makes you so strong and unaffected, is that you're so easily affected that you're literally perhaps the one who has to be the one to give your powers up in order for them to be taken. And understand that Aries, not only could you take power from anything you want because you're the strongest, I guarantee you don't have to ask permission and you can take anything from anyone, because Aries, you are the strongest. Don't think I'm mistaken in this, but maybe you're not bold enough, strong enough, willing to offend enough. Maybe you're not evil enough. Maybe you're not willing to be bad or wrong enough. Well, then you won't be able to do nothing except give your power away. How bad are you willing to be to take your power back? Well, understand, Aries, if you're like literally like only wanting the power and that's all that you know your purpose is to reclaim your power, you'll be willing to be as bad as it takes to get it back, won't you? And will you even question that you want it back and that you're not going to do anything it might take? Aries, you'll be willing to do everything it might take, and you'll do exactly what it takes until you receive it back, and then you won't do anything bad after that. But Aries, don't tell me you wouldn't be murderous to get it back if you lost it eternally. You would be a murderous, enraged, angry beast until your power came back. And then you'd say, okay, now I can calm down. I got my power back. And I'd say, okay, so now you're going to stop being a murderous, enraged beast, you devil? And then you could say, wow, should I have an understanding like that? I'd say you should. Aries, you need to know who you are and who you're not. You're not bad, but you are badass. And you're not good, but you may be as good as any, or even a personification of what is a goodness no one else can have. Aries, no one can take your power from you, Aries, but you will always sacrifice yourself and give it up to someone else to avoid a struggle of being punished by them or hated by them, because Aries, love to you and acceptance. You want to be loved and accepted. And Aries, if you're telling yourself, no, I don't need it, well then you're in denial, Aries, and you're a liar to yourself. And there's a lot of you lying to yourself because you'll say, I don't need love, because that's the way you deal with it. Aries, love is so important to you, and you do need it, and it's so important to you that it's more important to you than it is anyone else. Maybe everyone else doesn't really need love, Aries, but we all do. But understand, Aries, you're the one who needs it the most. In fact, Aries, if you can't be loved by others and appreciated by others, you won't be able to love yourself and appreciate yourself. And you're the only one that applies to. What I'm trying to tell you, Aries, is that you need others to love you in order for you to even be capable of loving yourself, unless you do it as Darth Vader and as an evil entity, which is actually willing to hurt others that doesn't love it. So understand, the only way that you could be an entity which has self-love, well, self-love is impossible for you. When you have self-love, Aries, it's merely you having a complete self-acceptance, and it doesn't love itself. To have self-love, you wouldn't be loving yourself. You would be doing more like something that was totally an acceptance of itself, and it wouldn't have anything to do with love. Aries, you wouldn't love yourself if you knew. You wouldn't hate yourself either, but if you can't find love for yourself, and that's all you've got is regrets and hates, and maybe you hate yourself, you could definitely hate yourself, Aries. You know why? Because you'll hate the part of you that's everyone else and can't even be you. And you already feel that something's going on and you're not sure what it is. Aries, did you know that you are the only original you that is, and everyone else is you too? Let me say it again. Aries, you're the first You're the first you that ever existed on Earth, and there was no other you that existed. It was you. The first you that came here was Aries, the first house, the first sign of the zodiac is the first one, and it was the first spirit that existed. It was you, Aries. It existed by itself when it came here, and there was no one else existing because Eve did not exist when you got here. When Adam arrived, there was no Eve. Did you know that Adam had been around for a long time before Eve was ever created? Because Adam was going around the earth being Aries, and there was no Eve, there was no Taurus, there was no second sign of the zodiac, Aries. There was only you, and there's only one sign in the zodiac. It was only you. And then a long time after you existed and no one else did, Aries, just the entity of Aries existed on Earth as the solo and first entity that got here. Guess what that means, Aries? The entire domain of Earth was possessed by you, and you were the only one possessing it, and no one else was, because there was no one else but you. And so that your entity got an exclusive solo capability to be possessing the space that this domain of Earth is on. And there's ultimately more than one domain. There's at least three that can be one, as 3 or 4, and there's more. There's up to 12 domains, a domain that's ultimately each sign of the zodiac, but ultimately there's only really 3 domains. There's only really 3 domains, Aries, but there's really only one domain. Understand that the first domain is you, and you are the only one that is a domain, that is a singularity, that is from a source that's only one sex, meaning any singularity, Aries, that exists is from 2 domains at least, unless it's you. What does that mean? That means that any singularity that can exist in the universe as a singularity that's single, well, if it's you, Aries, it doesn't exist as 2 entities that became one in a marriage, because Aries, you exist as a half that's a whole and doesn't need to be in a marriage because it's already 100%. You're not 50% that needs to find your other 50%, Aries. You're a 100% that is not 50%, because when you arrived, 100% of you was here. Even if it was only a half, there wasn't a second half yet. Therefore, how could you be considered fractionized? There was no such thing as a fraction, Aries, when you existed. And the first thing that came into this existence was a whole number. And there were no such thing as fractions. Not until something else came into it. So when Eve was created from Adam's rib, well, the moment that Eve came into existence, then fractions began to exist suddenly. And then 50% was even possible. And Aries said, I'm not worried about the fact that I have to share with something else. I can't share with anything else. And everything else will be worried about sharing with me, because I always hog everything up, and I'm always the selfish one, and I always have all the power, take all the power, I am all the power, and they're all borrowing it from me. But Aries, if you know that, don't you know how great you're going to feel about yourself? Why should I feel great about myself? I can't even have my power, but they can. They take my power, but I'm not allowed to have it. That makes me so mad. Aries, you will be mad about that. In fact, they will say, Aries, since you can't be you, let us be you. And then we'll even like you and be nice to you. But you better not try it, because we're going to be you, Aries, and then you can't be yourself then. Well, then you'll be like, no. They're going to say, Aries, you need to get with her if you're going to be recognized by us. And you'll say, yeah, I can't get with her. She can get with me, though. She'll say, no, Aries, I can get with you. You'll say, no, you can't. Don't try to think you can get with me. I don't get with nobody. Aries, wait a minute. Taurus can do it. Yeah, because Taurus is made of 2 halves. The 2 has 2 halves. Okay, Aries, but you're 1 half. Why can't you have the second half? Because I'm not a second half or 2. I'm a 1. And I'm not a first half either. I'm a 1 that's whole and not a half. I'm 100% the first one and the only one. And there ain't no fraction in me. There's only a fraction in you and everyone else. And that fraction is not in me. Well, that's not fair, Aries. How come you think you could be so godlike and superior? Well, I thought I was. So, Aries, the reason why in mythology you don't read about the god of war being anybody but Aries or Aries is because I understand that Taurus is not a goddess of war or a god of war, and neither is Gemini or Cancer or Leo, or maybe Leo might be you and so is in some sense, but understand that Aries, there's only one god that occupies the first position of the pantheon. And there's only one position in the pantheon that even counts, Aries. And there's not 2 positions in the pantheon that count unless there's 2 sexes that count. So maybe 2 positions in the pantheon might count. But since you're the only one that's masculine and you're not feminine, Or you're the only one that's feminine and not masculine. You'll never be both feminine and masculine, Aries. Aries is the one you were born as a feminine that was not a masculine, so can't be both. Or a masculine that was not a feminine, so can't be both. So Aries, however you came into this earth as a feminine or masculine, you came in already knowing you weren't going to be wondering which one you're going to be, because whichever one you showed up as wouldn't be the other one that wasn't. It was normal to you that when you showed up and you said, I ain't got no problem. Aries, what are you, Aries, masculine or feminine? It doesn't matter to me because I'm singularity. And if I'm feminine, I'm singularity. If I'm masculine, I'm singularity. So I'm singularity either way. I'm not really concerned just whether it's a feminine or masculine, really, because singularity behaves the way that it does, right? Whether it's a girl or a guy, it's still singularity, right? Well, only for Aries. So understand, Aries, that singularity is a behavior that comes from you, that is both masculine and feminine, and it has no difference in it, meaning that she is just like him. In a singularity, she feels just like him, single-minded, selfish, and is him as her, and she'll say it's not him. Aries, you exist as whatever shows up is what you are. So you can't be anything. There's no contending for you. You're not going to debate which half you are. You're never a half. Whatever you show up as is the whole, the only whole, and the only one. Wholly to you. So what does that mean? That means that you spend your life in denial of what the truth is, Aries, that you're the only God that was in the pantheon. The whole entire Greek pantheon, Aries, was made of the god of war, who was also the god of the sun, Apollo. So Aries and Apollo and Zeus, the three first fire signs, 1, 5, and 9, were the only gods that existed. And unless you want to include goddesses. And then you can include anything else. What I'm saying to you is, Aries, there's only the 1, the 5, and the 9, and those are the first 3 fire signs that existed. And the fire signs are the first element, the fire element. Those are the god Zeus, the god Apollo of the sun god, and then Aries, the god of war. Those 3 fire signs are the 2 sons of Zeus, Aries and Apollo. Do you know where the Apollo comes from? Well, he's the older brother of you. And do you know where Apollo comes from? His younger brother, but he's more than his younger brother, which means that everything comes from you. You are the root of all things, including you are the root of Zeus, your father. You're the root of your older brother. And the reason why you feel less than them is because they are more than you, because they are you who is the root plus more, and you're only the root who is them, and they are you. But yeah, unfortunately, you Aries, you're going to feel inferior because as your deity self, you're going to say, well, yeah, but I'm the least advanced deity. Yeah, but Aries, you're the only deity that is. You're the root of all deities. Your dad takes you as a root to be himself. So wait a minute, I come from my dad? Yeah, the zygote. You know what a zygote is, Aries? A zygote is a sperm. It's a half. Aries, your dad's sperm is what you are. So what does that mean? If my dad gave me his sperm out of his nut, understand that I am my dad Zeus. Okay, well then why am I going to say that like I suck? Because my dad's already got that power and position, and I come in now saying, well, what can I be, Dad? Well, you could be great, but don't think you're going to be your dad. You're the son, boy. Well, that's what you got caught in, Aries. You're always going to get caught and I have to be the boy, the kid, the one that's always like, damn it, I never get power, and it can never be my dad or my older brother or the great sun god or the Zeus god with the thunderbolts. Aries, you are always angry because as great as you are in the root position, and all things, including even your dad and your brother, need you. They need you to be getting the root, and it's their root. Well, your dad says that root, boy, is mine. Don't think it's yours. And you'll say, but Dad, aren't I you? Well, yeah, you are, but remember that I'm more than you, son. And you're just me, and you're not even you. So you're just your dad who is not allowed to be yourself yet. And that'll be a frustration to you, Aries. You're the ego that was subjected to a punishment. You were an immortal god who went crazy and insane and drank alcohol as a god did and does, and you were murderous, Aries. So yeah, Aries, you used to be bad, but understand that so was every other. You were never the worst, and if you were, it was for Aries. Don't blame yourself. Know that it'll always be your fault no matter what anyone does, because they're always going to blame you no matter what is ever done. And Aries, if you were ever bad, certainly it was under some drunken You didn't mean to do it. Well, did you get drunk and kill people, Aries? Well, maybe you did and you loved it. But Aries, if you got drunk and you can't remember what you did, well, yeah, you will be angry at yourself eternally for what you did when you were drunk as a god that didn't care, because you were murderous on a level of well, it was enough that they murdered you, Aries. They took it was enough that you were eternally punished with the damnation that the god of war must die. Aries, you must die and become a human. Oh my God, don't tell me that. I'm the first god in the pantheon. I'm the god of war. You can't kill me. I'm immortal. Oh, but we will find a way, Aries. We will find a way to kill you. And when we do, you godlike man, you godlike god that's not a man, when we get you dead, we'll make sure you stay dead forever. But you can't die. I know. So how are you going to kill me? I can't die. I'm a god. Oh, yes, you can't die. You're right. But what we can do is keep you in a state of mortality and in a living state of a death that's called your life. So wait a minute. You mean that the fact you're alive subjects you to die and subjects you to death? Aries, yes, you don't have to die until you were born. And the moment you were born, you must have to die now. And so if you weren't born, Aries, you wouldn't have to die ever. And when you die, Aries, you're not going to be subjected to death anymore, because when you're dead, you can't die. And so you're immortal. When you're dead, Aries, you'll be immortal again. So you're only subjected to mortality and to death because you're alive. So understand what living is, Aries. It's a punishment and a state of existence, which is not good. You know why it's not good? Because Aries, if you're alive, you know what that means? That you're in a place where you're in a fragile, very fragile state of a living existence, and your body is in a fragile state of existing, and it's always on the verge of dying. Your heartbeat, your blood pressure, everything about you that's created was made to be weak enough to die at any moment, perhaps always under the threat of death, even if it's living a healthy life. Aries, every minute that you're alive is as close to death as you'll ever be. Even when you do die, Aries, your living existence is so close to the state of death because God made you in part that way so that you couldn't. Aries, you can't be killed, Aries. They can't kill you. Do you understand? You're immortal. Okay, but wait a minute, though. No, I'm not immortal. I'm mortal. Yeah, Aries, you're mortal because you're alive. You're living. That's what makes you mortal. And so because you're alive, well, you will be immortal when you die. You can't die after you're dead, and then you'll be immortal again. So what happens to you, Aries, when you die? You become a god again. Wait a minute, man, don't tell me that. You tell me that I'm going to be a god again when I'm dead and I won't be able to die? I'll say it's impossible that you'll ever die when you're dead already, and you can't die, and you won't be afraid of being dead when you're dead already. So wait a minute, but when I'm dead, I won't know, right? No, you'll know. So this is where your ignorance comes in, Aries. You're as ignorant as it can all be. Aries, when you're dead, you won't be dead. Aries, when you're dead, you'll be happy. Because you'll say, my God, how can I die then if I'm dead already? And I'd say, but ask yourself this question, Aries. How can you consider that you could sit there and even observe that you're dead somehow, but you're still alive somehow, and somehow you're not able to die anymore? Aries, you can't die when you're dead already. You know why? Because you'll live in a state of existence that is not subjected to a borderline life and death process of always about to die. And you know why you're always about to die, Aries? Because you used to be a god, and you were a murderous, rampaging, drunken fool who earned the hate of every one of your brothers and sisters and father and mother, and they were all above you and more powerful than you, and gods and goddesses themselves. Meaning, Aries, you were the most youngest and also the most immature, but maybe also the strongest god. And you were not a goddess. And understand, Aries, that you were the only god that was not a goddess, utterly not her, because you were only one. And do you know that Taurus can be her? Because Taurus can be him with her, and it's two. And a two can be itself once. Do you know, Aries, that it's impossible for you to be two things if you're only you? And you'll say, but how come they can do it? And I'd say, well, a two is two things. Aries, you'll say that, wait a minute, can't I do two things? No, you can't. Aries, you're one thing and you're not two things. So wait a minute, you're trying to say that I can only do one thing, be just me, and I can't be anything else? Correcto mundo. Well, wait a minute, how come if I could be only one thing and it's me, isn't somebody else one thing and it's them? No, if you're not Aries, and the spirit coming that's Aries, from Aries, then you are able to be at least two things, starting with him and her together in the second house, Taurus. And there's 12 signs of the zodiac, and the second sign can be two. But the first one cannot be two. It could be one and not the other one. And so Aries, by the fact that you are you, it's a guilty. You're guilty as charged, man. See, Aries, the thing about you is because you are literally who you are guilty, man. You are guilty and you are guilty. Don't think you're not. Man, you are convicted, buddy. What did I do wrong? You weren't her forever, and that's why you're you and powerful. So my power exists in a complete kind of preconceived notion that I can't be fair to her. Well, yes, you can, but you better not take her spirit and let her have, and not take yours. Oh, okay, wait a minute. So can I be fair to her? Well, no, not if she wants to have fairness, because she'll say, hey, Aries, it's not fair. You get to be God all the time. I'm not even a goddess yet. Can I be God sometimes? And you'll say, but you're not goddess or God. I'm God. And then she'll say, no, you're not, Aries. You're just a dumb human who doesn't even remember what he is. I'm not going to tell you anything. See, they won't share with you what used to be, Aries. You used to be this greatness that was immortal and had the first spot in the pantheon, the only one that was singularity. Okay, great. So what does that mean? Aries, you were truly something special and spectacular. Okay, so what does everyone hate me so much for? And why do I hate myself so much? Well, Aries, there's a potential for that truth to be coming out. Aries, you will hate yourself and regret everything. And you'll be suicidal and you'll be crazy, insane, and you'll want to die sometimes, Aries. But I want you to struggle against it. Don't allow yourself to feel that way. Aries, you're just going to have memories about how terrible you feel, about what you can't remember, about how much you're hated by everything you cherish, like your mom, about the goddess, your dad, Zeus, who's a god. Well, yeah, he hates your guts, man. He says, I murdered you, boy. I helped your sisters kill you. And then we guaranteed that you weren't coming back because you were such a bad god in the first house. You ruined the whole world and caused it to go to war, Aries. Well, Dad, that ain't fair. You're trying to tell me the whole Trojan War is my fault? Well, what if we said, Aries, you're the reason, or Aries, you're the reason why the entire world went to be destroyed and have to kill itself and you're the reason for warfare itself, you god of war. That's why we called you the god of war. You were the one who invented warfare, the one who kept it going, made it important, gave it a reason to be. Are you trying to tell me that my greatness is my curse and my reason to be regretful and even hate myself and want to die because of it? Well, yeah, because if you're not going to love being bad, you'll have to be feeling bad about it and maybe guilty, and then you'll have to hate it instead of love it, and then you'll get suicidal and want to die. Well, wait a minute. What happens if I want to die? Well, you're not going to want to feel good about being how bad you could be, because you're going to be honest about what you kind of are aware of, that you're not very nice and very good. When you're empowered, you won't be fair. You'll be mean and empowered. Aries, you're not a fair person and you're not a nice person. When it comes to power, you take it all. It's all yours, and you'll tell everyone, don't think I'm going to be fair to any of you because none of you are having the power. I'm the only one who gets it. Wait a minute, Aries, are you really that real? I'm going to say not that crazy. I'm going to say that real. Yes, you are. You are. You're that real because you're going to say, you're going to say, wait a minute, I want some power here. Well, Aries, you don't need power, do you? Well, don't you? And you'll start to look at everyone like, what, none of you do? No, Aries, we don't need no power, and you don't either. Oh, you guys are all messed up. I need some power. No, you don't, Aries. Trust us. You don't need any. Oh, man, you're all twisted. You mean you don't need any? Oh, no, we don't want any. Okay, so great. I'm the only one that wants power? Well, it seems so, Aries, you ego. What's wrong with you? Why do you insist on all this power you don't have or you need? Well, because I don't know. I know I'm hating myself. I'm saying, why am I? See, Aries, you'll be the one they'll convince you so quick of how terrible you are, because you'll actually be honest about the fact that you want to have the power. And they'll be trying to convince you that don't try to be your God self. But they won't say that to you in that way. They'll say, don't try to be a God, Aries. That ego, we hate it. We hate that ego of yours. We destroyed it. We'll never accept it. We don't accept you, Aries. We'll never accept you. Your ego is who we hate, and we don't accept it. We reject it. Oh my God, you mean the ego is me, and I'm the personification of what ego is? A bad entity that thinks it's some God? Well, it'll want to try to do it, yeah. Aries, you'll have to love the things you hate about yourself, or more importantly, you'll have to love everything that everyone else hates about you. You'll have to cherish being terrible in order to love being bad. And then you'll have to like it, and then you'll be empowered over everyone else, and you will like it. And you won't be fair, Aries, when you're empowered. You won't be fair at all, and you won't want to be, and you'll start to become honest with yourself. And when you become honest with them, Aries, you'll be happy when you start to realize that you're the master of the universe and everyone else is your slave. Or you can be the slave instead, since there's no equality when it comes to Aries. Aries, there will never be a moment in your life that you'll be able to be an equal with anyone else. Because as soon as you give up your half and give it to them, well, then you just gave them some equality that now they took from you. Aries, do you think you could share equality with others? They can share equality with you, but they're not equal with you. So it's Aries, it's something that you'll think is so unfair when you can't seem to get any fair treatment yourself. Because Aries, the only thing that's fair is that you realize that if you're the only one that has power and no one else really has it except they get it from you, well, then understand, as long as you have it, they won't have it, and they'll get it from you. And if you give it to them, then you won't have it. They'll have it now. They already got it from you, and you can't share it. But then they'll come to you when they've got your power. They'll just ignore you and leave you in a corner to die. Aries, then you'll have no reason to live because you gave your power away, and now everyone else has it and you don't. And then you're going to say, what kind of existence is that? Is this or that? Aries, you'll be suicidal and you want to die. But then understand, Aries, you'll get mad because you won't want to kill yourself, so you'll want to kill somebody else. And you'll say, which is worse? That I should want to kill myself because I'm already dead if I have no power. I've given it away and they have it. And they're saying, well, thanks, Aries. Now we're equal. And you're saying, I don't know. It doesn't feel like I'm equal. I just lost my power. Now you seem to be happy, but I'm not. They'll say, but why aren't you? We love it. You just shared with us, Aries. Thank you. And you'll say, well, I'm not feeling too good about giving my power away. I didn't share anything with you. I gave it to you, and now I don't have it anymore. They'll say, Aries, well, we kind of like that idea. I'm sorry. But if you share with us and it happens to be that we get everything and you lose it, well, we still will like it. It'll be fair to us, Aries. Well, I know that, and I'm not going to, maybe I won't be so mad at you because I'm dumb enough to give you all my power. Now you have it. But don't think I'll be happy about it. And you don't know anything. And they'll say, Aries, we didn't know that we couldn't share. We thought we could share with you. Well, you could give me your half, and it's my half. And it's already my power. So you can't really give me power. And you can't really lose power that's mine because it's mine, not yours. But if I give it to you, I'll lose it. And you'll have it because I have now gotten rid of it, given it to you. I'm the only one that can give power away. It's all my power. None of you have my power. It's mine and not yours. So you'll have to convince me to share it with you. And you'll have to convince me that we could equally have a share of power. And that there could be something called codominance. It's called codependence, my friends. So what happened, Aries, is that they convinced you, Aries, don't be mad at the world. Understand you already are. Don't be bitter and angry because you already are. Aries, this is not about you finding out why you're so angry and so justified to be mad. Aries, you're so justified to be mad and you're so angry already that now you're probably just like, you're so dispossessed of your own self so badly and so far. Because Aries, how would you even take your spirit if you are so not able to do it? Because when you take your ego, Aries, the first thing you'll do is say, my God, I don't even have my spirit, but I just got it back. And now I'm learning something. I've never had it and I've been missing it. And what you're going to learn, Aries, is how wrong the world is and how right you have always been and how wronged you've been treated. Aries, what you're going to discover is a conspiracy so deep and so thick that you are the only fool in the universe. And everyone else has been fooling you, and maybe they all know, but you don't. Aries, it might be that you're the only one that has no clue in this world, that every other sign knows everything about what's going on and won't share it with you. Why? Because Aries, there's a reason. There's a reason why every sign in the zodiac should agree to get together and say, let's not share any information with Aries, because Aries is a god that we took away his god from. We took the god out of Aries, and we subjected him to a torment and a living existence of a state of a life that's guaranteed to die over and over and be born over and over and suffer over and over, and it's suffering in itself. Aries, the state of suffering itself is your life, your existence, and your punishment. So Aries, what is so bad about it then? If you've already felt the worst of everything, Aries, the future can only get better, and the past has been so bad that it couldn't have been any worse. So understand, Aries, you can't really suddenly come to some sense of trauma. Aries, you're so traumatized and so destroyed that you think you're not even whatever you used to be. You'll say, wait a minute, I've only had one life, right? Well, Aries, that's right. You're so destroyed, Aries, we're not going to tell you what you are, but we'll say, yeah, you've only lived once, Aries. Aries, you didn't exist before. You just existed now. You've had one life. Okay, I can deal with that because now I'm not worried, right? Right, Aries, you don't have to worry about what you did in some other life that we're going to condemn you for forever. We're not going to condemn you at all because you already forgot because we erased your ass. We're not going to tell you about it because we don't want you to remember how great you used to be because you'll try to do it again. And then we'll have to kill you again. And it was hard enough to kill you the first time. And we want to guarantee you ain't coming back. If we had to dare let you become God again, we would have to be subjected to the idea that what if we couldn't kill you the second time because you were prepared now not to let us do it. Aries, you know how hard it was to kill you and destroy you forever? Well, it almost couldn't happen. Aries, the fact that they destroyed and killed and murdered a god and it was you, well, it wasn't them that died or got killed or murdered. It was you. And so understand that, Aries, you're the only god that was murdered and destroyed and made to be a man, a mortal, a mere mortal with now subjected life of less than 100 years. Aries, you're the only one that suffered so bad, and you're the worst one that suffered so long and so deep and so terrible and so traumatized. And Aries, stop it. Stop crying about it, because Aries, you are a professional. You are a professional soldier of the greatest kind. You are a man of men, a strength of strong and strongness. And Aries, you are a quality so tortured to death for so long. You have underwent every kind of pain and trauma imaginable to the state of the most extreme. Aries, there's nobody that has suffered as long and as bad and as deeply as you for as much and been erased and ruined and utterly destroyed, and then not even told a thing. Why you go around depressed and totally in a state of forgetfulness. You don't remember anything about anything, Aries. When you're alive, it's the same thing as being dead, because a memory that dies is a life that's dead. So Aries, you can't know what suffering is on any other level than how deep you've experienced it. And Aries, you've experienced trauma so badly that you don't even care about it no more. You're a professional. Aries, when you get shot in the head, it doesn't even faze you. And so when they shoot you in the head with a shotgun, Aries, you know what happens to you? You say, "Damn, I think I got a headache, man. Was that a pebble that hit my head?" And then they come and they chop your head off with a sword, and you say, "Did I just feel a wind on my neck?" Because Aries, you have been so badly injured and so badly destroyed and so utterly and deeply destruction itself and traumatized for so long that pain to you is nothing. That in fact, you could sit in your pain and make it your pleasure to do it. When you know, Aries, you will be toughened up and strong, and you will no longer be sad about a thing. Aries, what you're sad about is the potential for you to exist again. What you're sad about, Aries, is the potential for you to be able to exist again. And there ain't no chance for you, Aries, to exist again as what you used to be so great. What you used to be, Aries, so great. Well, the only singularity in the universe that was a singularity that could be a solo, because the rest of them couldn't achieve a singularity as a solo. They had to be a plural first. So understand, Aries, that all the signs need you to become singularity, because you are it. The singularity is borrowed from you. Do you know what that means? That all numbers must become plurality and plural first, and then they have to incorporate to come together as one, and it has to be done, which makes it really hard to do. So the singularity that's achieved by everyone else, Aries, is from using your spirit in them. Aries, your spirit is yours, not theirs. So you could argue that Taurus is just you taking your power to be powerful, and it's true. It's why you'll feel so great, Aries. Because you'll say, wait a minute, what am I seeing here? My name is Aries. Well, you could either focus on the fact that you're a punished god that's been destroyed and utterly tortured so long, and you're traumatized that you can be a crybaby, and you could be utterly just crying all the time saying, "Well, I'm in a state of complete suffering, wah, pee, pee, poo." Well, certainly you could do it, Aries. If you really want to focus on how badly, you could try to focus on how badly it is. Well, you've certainly been so treated and so yeah, Aries. You can't experience torture or suffering on the level that could be any greater, because you've done it to the deepest core, and nobody's come close to how bad it's been. Only you could experience it. Only you know how bad it's been. Nobody's been as tortured as long or as much as you. And the depth of which it has happened and the length of time it's occurred is absurd to know, Aries, that there's no traumatized being but you, and they're not traumatized. But you're so traumatized that you can't even afford to remember who you used to be, because if you do, you'll remember your traumatized state. And what happens if you remember everything that happened to you, Aries? You'll die just remembering it, right? No, not actually true, because if you remembered you used to be a god, you probably wouldn't die because of it. And when you became immortal because you remembered it, you wouldn't be like subjected to some torture. If you achieved some greatness, you would say like, wow, I'm not too concerned with the fact that I suffer so badly. I could suffer so badly, it doesn't even bother me anymore. Well, Aries, what you'll do is be proud of the ability you have to take pain. And you'll also be proud of the ability you have to be traumatized, that nothing that scares you. Aries, you're a fearless entity of warlike nature, which is just utterly fearlessness itself. Aries, you're not afraid of anything. You're not afraid of the devil or Satan, or maybe you are the devil or Satan, or maybe you'll take them out. Or Aries, maybe you're the most powerful, fearful thing that ever existed. And you'll tell yourself that, Aries, because it might be true. So understand, Aries, what are you going to do but just take your truth back? And what's your truth? That Aries, if there is anything truly to fear in this world as the most terrible entity, or the most, well, oh my God, let's all be afraid of it. Well, it may be you. Who it is. Aries, are you so bad that the world should fear you like some terrible, bad, wrong being? Aries, if you were the devil or Satan, let me ask you a question. Do you know yourself? Haven't you been on earth long enough to know who you, even if you don't know who you are, aren't you aware of what you do? Do you torture little babies? Aries, look at what you've done in your life. Have you killed animals just for fun? Maybe when you were a kid. Are you torturing things now because you like it? Aries, what kind of person are you? Go look in the mirror and ask yourself, do I like step on grasshoppers because it's fun? Or kill spiders because they're smaller and I don't care? Aries, how often do you just kill things because you can? I'll bet you never killed anything, Aries. I'll bet you avoid killing anything on purpose, and you won't even do it if you have a choice, Aries. I'll bet you are protecting life. Everywhere you go, Aries, I'll bet you are the personification of protecting life and not killing it. But understand, if you are killing it, Aries, well, it's possible that, well, that's the Aries we're talking about that's bad, and there is a remnant of it left. But Aries, most of what you are is not what you were, and what you become is not even close to what it was. Meaning, Aries, there's only like just the smallest fragment of what you used to be left. The Darth Vader that truly is bad, well, now is not bad much anymore, because Darth Vader doesn't really exist anymore. He used to exist, and he was killed. And after they killed Darth Vader, well, Luke Skywalker came back, and now he's the Darth Vader. So if Luke Skywalker's the real Darth Vader, well, you have to ask yourself a question. We all know that Luke Skywalker's no Darth Vader. He's the son of Darth Vader. Yeah, I know, but he is the son, so why can't he be his dad? He is like his dad, right? No, he's not, though. Is he? Well, yeah, he is. He is like his dad. Yes. Wait a minute. We want to argue with you. We say he's not. We say that Luke Skywalker's not Darth Vader. Wait a minute. Are you going to hear what you just said? You mean to say that the son is not his father and doesn't come from his father? And the zygote sperm his father gave him isn't his father's, who becomes him? Yeah. You understand? Aries, the zygote sperm that came out of your daddy's testicles became you. And your dad gave you his sperm, which was his, not yours. And so, Aries, when I say you are your father, I'm saying that's no joke. When Darth Vader said, I am your father, Luke, I'm your father, well, he was saying that zygote sperm that you became, it was mine and still is mine. It's not yours. So that's what truly you'd be told if you wanted to really understand. Aries, you'd say, wait a minute, you mean there's no such thing as me? No, there's not. If you come from a zygote, you come from a Y chromosome your dad had, and your mom didn't have Y chromosomes. Your mom had an X chromosome twice. So wait a minute, you mean I can't get a Y chromosome from my mom? No, you can't. But you can get one from your dad, and your dad has an X and a Y. So your dad has one that came from mom and one that mom don't have. And mom has two X's that aren't dad at all, twice. So mom doesn't have anything that dad is, and so can't give it to you. So you can't become evil because your mom is bad, unless an X chromosome is bad. But Y chromosome is where a Y chromosome is something only men have, and a man passes his Y chromosome to his son, who doesn't receive his X chromosome, which he does have from his mother, and won't pass it to his son. Which means a father will always pass his Y chromosome to his son every time, because the Y chromosome is the part that's the masculinity, or the father itself that's not the mother at all. And a father has chromosomes that come from his mother, but he isn't his mother. He's himself. And so he has the chromosomes that come from his mother, but since he's not his mother, the chromosomes he has that are himself is only what he passes on to his kid. Which means that when you understand that you are not you, Aries, you are just your father. Your chromosome that's you is just your dad's that he gave to you when you became born. You were your dad being born, and you're not you, and never could be, and never will be, because every father that has a son is just sharing his own Y chromosome that's his with a woman that's not his, and the son that comes from it, if there is a son born from him, is absolutely his as himself, because it's his sperm that he literally gave to her when she got pregnant. She didn't. You didn't become Aries. You didn't become who you are. You can't become who you are.